Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Midi Nancy. If you're new here, you're welcome to the channel, and if you are not new, thank you for coming back. I'm super excited to be making this video. I'm going to be talking about how I was able to finally get a student residence permit in France after applying for a long time. How I was able to transition from a temporary worker visa to a student residence permit, the process, my ordeal, and basically everything that has to do with student residence permits in France, how you can get yours and all. So if this sounds like something you are interested in, then let's jump right into the video. So guys, this video is going to be like a story time, and it's also going to be like kind of like do's and don'ts, like some things. I'm just going to kind of tell you some things that I did, which maybe influenced my getting my student residence permit very late, my titre de séjour étudiante. Maybe some things that I did wrongly, or just talking about the system, the French system. We all know like the system is, I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm going to start from the beginning. So I applied for my student residence permit June of last year, I think. I was still doing my internship in Luxembourg when I applied, because that was when I got my admission letter. I got everything. I knew I was going to be a student in France, so I decided to start the process. I started the process by researching. Like personally, I like to like do my research just to find info, and if I'm not able to come up with anything, I try to look for someone who has been through the same, who has gone through the same process to ask. But unfortunately, in my time, there was really nobody that had gone through the process that I knew of, so I knew that it was left to me. And I mean, at the same time, people were calling me, like my colleagues, like, what do you think, how do you think we should go about this? I'm like, okay, we're all going to try to figure it out together. I researched to see if I could transition from a travailleur temporaire visa into a student residence permit. Okay, one thing that you guys should keep in mind is that in France, you cannot get a visa. As long as you're already in France, you can only apply for a residence permit, be it work residence permit, temporary work residence permit, student residence permit, and what have you. So I went on the ANEF site. I'm going to put the link in the description box if you don't know what ANEF is, ANEF. So that's the site where you apply for the titre de séjour. You go there. I went to the ANEF site and I said, you know, I want to apply for a titre de séjour étudiant. So they will tell you to fill out a couple of info, like what's your current status, like are you legal in the country. Mind you, before you can apply for a titre de séjour, whatever the type is, you need to apply at least 3 months before the expiration of your current, you know, status, your current whatever you have. So my visa, my temporary work visa, was going to expire in September, and I applied in June, so I still had July, August before September, like, so it was okay for me. So I was in check. So there was no reason why I shouldn't be given, right? So basically, when you say you want to get a student residence permit, they ask you to fill a couple of details. You need to like show that you have accommodation. You need to show proof of funds. You need to show, like, if you want me to make a whole video on the application process step by step, you need to like be vocal about it. Put it in the comment section. If I don't see anything like that in the comment section, I take that as a no. So but it's really pretty straightforward. If you go on the ANEF site, just put your current like validation of your current visa, because when you come to France, you need to, whether you're a student or temporary worker or whatever status you have, you need to like validate your visa. So you get a number when you validate your visa. So it's the validation number that you need to like put when you want to apply for a titre de séjour. And then they will know if you are eligible for the new residence permit you're trying to apply for or not. So guys, I was living in a French city at the border of Luxembourg. So basically, when they asked for address, because I didn't have this address yet in Lille, I decided to put my address where I was, because in that city, like I still had like 3 months lease to the end of my contract in that house. So I mean, I also contacted one of my, like, a father figure living here in Lille, for maybe he should give me like an attestation of like accommodation, like that proves that, oh, I'll be living in their house, in his family house, for like 3 months before like 3 months of my study, September, October, November. You know, this person gave me they gave me that attestation, gave me their national identity card and some other like bills, house bills and everything. But I was like, I really don't see why I should use it at the end of the day, since I still have a valid address where I was. I don't know how I'm going to explain this, but in France there are different departments. Okay, just like in my country, Nigeria, there are different states. In United States as well, different states. So different departments have their own prefecture. So prefecture is like what we would call like immigration office or like embassy. Those are the people that like issue out the residence permit or like citizenship and what have you. So where I was Département Grand Est, like it was Department of East or something, like Grand Est. So whereas Lille is in Département, I think, in Hauts-de-France. Okay, why am I telling you this story? So because I applied using my address of Département Grand Est where I was living, my application automatically went to the prefecture of the Département Grand Est instead of coming to this Lille. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, you just have to apply from wherever you are, and then based on the reason why you're applying, your application would move to the respective prefecture of the region where you want to be. So the first mistake you shouldn't make is that if you are currently living in Paris and you got admission to the University of Strasbourg, try to look for a Strasbourg address. Look for someone who can give you an attestation, or go to Strasbourg and try to get an attestation before you begin your application. Because even though you are still like, you still have a house in Paris, you still have your lease, like your contract and everything is still okay. Once you put your Paris address, your application is going to go to the prefecture of Paris, and they might not transfer it to the respective prefecture that needs to actually treat your file. I don't know if that makes sense. It looks like a whole lot of work one, but I'm trying my best to explain to the best of my knowledge. So try your possible best to use the address of if you got a job in Lyon, try to get a Lyon address and apply using the address of Lyon so that your application goes to Lyon. So in my case, my application went to Département Grand Est, and you know, in my mind I'm like, oh, I've submitted, I was living my life, I was doing everything. June ended, July ended, I didn't like get anything. Like there was even nothing. Like it wasn't even like, it's, I think on the site it was still saying that, oh, it was just saying maybe pending. I don't even know what it was saying, but it hadn't moved away from where it was. And at this time I was getting worried. Like, so I decided to call the number, like from your account you'd see like numbers you can call to make inquiries about your application and everything. So I called, no response. And eventually when someone picks your call, they just be like, oh, go and apply on the site. Like that was what the person said. She just said, go to the site and apply. And I was still trying to explain that, oh, I've applied since end of June, blah blah blah. She was like, she's sorry, she cannot do anything for me, that I should wait patiently for them to get to my file. Guys, August ended, nothing. So in my mind, I thought my application went to Lille, because in my application, the reason why I'm asking for a change of status is because I'm going to be a student at the University of Lille. My admission letter, everything is there. So I'm like, oh, Lille, what's happening? I didn't even know that my application was with Département Grand Est. So I decided to call like the Lille prefecture and everything. So when I called them, they eventually picked after calling and calling. And they were like, what's your name? Can you tell me your name so I can cross-check? What's your, like, the number that you got after applying? Like, you need to get a number. Like, I told them the number, and they were like, we don't see any file in your name or in this number in our records. Like, your application didn't get to us. At this point, it was like, my application didn't get to you, Bitibao. Then I decided to keep calling like Département Grand Est, but there was nothing from them as well. They didn't even pick my calls again. So by the time I came to Lille to resume, I knew that there's always going to be like an international students like office in every university. So take advantage of that as well. So I knew that there was one in Lille, so I Next day I woke up early, I went to the department, I went to the office, like international students office, and I made complaints. I was like, oh, I applied for my titre de séjour étudiant since June, and I'm yet to get a response from whoever is going to treat my file. Like, is there a way I can book an appointment with the prefecture of Lille and go there? They're like, oh no, like you cannot book an appointment with the prefecture of Lille, you can't go there physically, everything needs to be online. Let's see your current visa and everything. By that time my visa had already like it was expiring in like 2 weeks. Yeah, it was expiring like September 24, and this was like beginning of September, first week. And then, you know, there are also the people working there are students, so they went left, right, they spoke with their student leader and everyone, and then what they came up with was like, oh, you need to like go back to your country and go and apply from there, because you are changing your status from like travailleur temporaire to a student, so you need to do that from your country. At this point I had like 3 colleagues or 4 in other regions. We came to France together as travailleur temporaire, and at this time they already got like a document telling them that they are going to get their cards very soon, or like someone else got like a temporary student permit already that was going to last for another 1 year. I'm like, my colleagues didn't have to go back home, and it's already kind of late for me before I start booking appointment and everything. But it was very like a late hour. Like, I'd started classes, I mean in my class, and for my registration they didn't ask me for like my residence permit or anything. I just told them I've applied, and they were like, that's fine, and I was already going to classes. Like, it was crazy at this point. So this guy, like a guy at the international student office, was the one that then explained to me that my application actually went to like prefecture of the département Grand Est, and that I should have looked for like an address in Lille to put. And at this point I already had an address in Lille. I tried everything possible to change the address on the site on my account to my Lille address, but it just wasn't working. There's no possible way for you to change it unless you close that one and start again. I tried to close it around like July to start all over again, but it was not closing. So at the end of everything, what the guy did was just give me a list of numbers from that département Grand Est. According to him, these numbers are numbers that's like treats titre de séjour étudiant requests, that I should just keep trying to call those numbers, and then hopefully someone is going to like respond to me. I mean, I was disappointed. Like, I thought these people were going to help me to the very end, but I understand because they are just students, there's really nothing they can do. So I left. I just started calling these numbers, and then I called one, and luckily for me, the man picked up. It was like, oh, what's your name? Ah, yeah, I can see my file, but nobody has touched it. So I was like, okay, he's going to send a message to the prefecture on my behalf right now. I don't really remember what happened, but I know that he replied me with their response, and it was not even good. They were asking me for some documents, like documents already uploaded in my application from the beginning, so they were asking for it again. So I gave them those documents, and then next thing they started asking for my proof of accommodation. I was already living here. I'd moved out of my house in département Grand Est. So I'm like, if I give them that my house contract for that place, they'll see that my contract already ended. So I sent them my proof of accommodation for this place. So they bounced it back like, oh, why do you have 2 different addresses? So I had to like send them a message that, oh, the time I applied I was living there, now I'm here. Next thing they're like, oh, then it means that they're not the ones that are going to be in charge of my application, blah blah blah, that my application needs to go to the department of Lille. Then I'm like, is there a way you guys can just transfer the file? Like, you guys, you work internally, like, you know all these things, just change it from your hand or something. Like, I don't know any of these things. And next thing, they didn't even reply that message. They just asked me for one other document. Guys, I'm trying to remember what that document is, but that document is something I could never have, and they know that I cannot have it because of my status. I don't even know what the document is. Maybe a proof of like ownership. I don't even know. It was just something very bizarre. Then I told them I don't have it. Next thing, I just opened my, like, I was expecting a message from them one day. Next thing I just saw, like, this time it was already like October or November. Next thing, I just saw that they closed my file, like they closed it totally, because they gave me 30 days to submit that bizarre document that I never have. And next thing, they closed my application. This time it was already around November or something. Oh yeah, before they closed my application, they actually gave me a 3-month extension of my current visa. So my current visa that I brought from Nigeria was till September 24. So they gave me a 3-month récépissé. We call it récépissé. That's like a prolongation of your current status visa, if that makes sense. Just something to prove that, oh, you're still legally in the country. So I had récépissé for, I think, October, November, December. Like it was supposed to like expire like beginning of December-ish. Another thing with that récépissé is that I tried to use it to get jobs. I tried to apply to everywhere possible, and they were just like, oh, sorry, we need someone with a student resident permit or a student status. Don't forget that the récépissé prolongs your current visa, and my current visa is travailleur temporaire. So the jobs I was applying for, which were student jobs, they were like, oh, they need someone that's the status of the person is student and not travailleur temporaire. So at the end of the day, everything was just working against me. That was how I felt till I got a contract to, you know, work as a locally recruited assistant, English assistant in my region. So if I didn't get that job, I would have been jobless from last year September, because I wouldn't have had nobody would have recruited me because of my status, or maybe I would have found something eventually, but something like that doesn't pay well, or whatever the situation might have been. But eventually I got that one settled. So this day that they just closed my file, like out of the blues, they just closed it. I was about to go live, my only live video. If you guys remember, if you watched that video, I was about to cancel this video, and because I just got a bad news and everything, like my whole system just changed. I don't remember when I made that video. Maybe it was September or October or November, I don't remember. But I know that day I was getting prepared to do the live video when I got the message that my file had been closed. I'm like, where do I start from? Like, why do I even want to make a video? I'm tired. Like, but I just had to, like, you know, make the video eventually, just because I need to keep living. I need to keep making myself happy. Let me cut the long story short. Immediately that same day, maybe after the video or before the video, I don't remember, I created another account immediately. So this time I put Lille as my address. So I believed that my application went to the prefecture of Lille. But you can't believe the first thing that Lille started asking for is that same document that I don't have, and they know that I cannot have based on my status. By the time I'm editing this video, I'm going to try to like search my mails, because it has happened since last year. So search my mails and put it on the screen or something. So I had to send them a long mail, like, and I tagged as many organizations in the mail. Like I put them in copy. Like there's no possible way for me to have this document, and you know it. So why are you asking for the document at the end of the day? So, you know, eventually they stopped asking me for that document. Next thing they started asking for was my proof of accommodation. I'm like, I don't understand. I already put my housing like contract that shows that I'm going to be in this house for like a year or more, as long as I'm paying my rent. I already put everything possible. Then they said, oh no, they want like a bill. But the problem is that the bill needs to be in my name. But I don't pay my bills myself, because my rent is like bills inclusive. So I asked my landlord to give me like there's something we call quittance de loyer. That's like something you're supposed to get at the like every month. Every month when you pay your rent, you're supposed to get that quittance that shows that, oh, this person has paid this month's rent. But my landlord is really an old man, so he doesn't give us those things. So I needed to ask him for that, and he just, you know, made a Word document that showed that, oh, I had paid for September, because I moved in September, October, November, December. I think it was around December now, or January. It was like, I've paid for this month, and I sent this to them. And they bounced it back again, giving me 30 days to present a bill. And they said it can be like electricity, it can be phone bill, it can be, you know, they gave a list of like bills that it could be. The only bill that can be in my name is my phone bill, because every month I pay like 20 euros for my like phone plans, even though I don't even use half of it. I went to my network provider, like their office, and they gave me my phone bill that showed my address where I'm currently living and how much I pay per month, and everything was there. and I uploaded this document. Next thing, they bounced it back and told me that, oh, phone bills are not allowed. So I decided to send a long message again to their office, adding so many people in the as usual. Those other like mails I put in copy, they're like, you know, titre de séjour email if you're applying for like a work permit, titre de séjour if you're applying for maybe asylum, like all these other things that does not have to do with students, but still the prefecture of North is like prefecture of Lille of the North. So I put all of them in copy, so everybody can like see the message on my behalf and see that, why are these people treating this girl this way? I intentionally did it. Like if the prefecture that you are currently dealing with, if they are giving you problem, try to look for not other prefectures of other regions, but just the same prefecture but other offices. I added every of their emails in copy. In my mail, I'm like, I'm a student here, just like every other person living in this country that is a student. I cannot have a house that is in my name and paying my bills and everything. It's not possible for me, like at my age, like I cannot. So what do you people want? Why would you say that the phone bill is not acceptable? So it was a whole kind of like, you know, emotional and, you know, message that shows frustration and everything. After that, I saw that they cancelled the request. They didn't ask for it again. After, they didn't reply me. They don't always reply my messages. Eventually they started treating my file. They in turn gave me another, like, I think 3 months extension or 6 months extension visa. No, I think they gave me 3 months first. That was December, January and February. So by this time, February, they didn't get back to me again, and I was going to go to Nigeria in April, and I didn't want to be stranded at all. So I started sending them messages again that, oh, by April I'm going to be traveling, and I'm going to be traveling out of France for a while, and I need to have a valid, you know, titre de séjour and everything to be able to come back. And at this point, they eventually replied, giving me a 6 months récépissé. Récépissé is like the prolongation still of my previous work visa. So they gave me a 6 months récépissé till, like, I think the récépissé was like till June. Before I went to Nigeria, I got a message that, oh, now I've been awarded, like I've been given now I deserve a 2 years carte de séjour pluriannuel, like multiple years residence permit, which is like supposed to last 2 years. So you get that paper first. That paper already serves as a card, and then after you get that paper, they will give you an appointment for you to come and pick up your card. Then I was eventually able to pick up my card in, I think, end of May. So I applied June. In my head, I got my card in June of this year. So June to June, that's 1 year on getting a titre de séjour étudiant. I think the very first thing that could cause delay in your application for your titre de séjour is address. The next thing is that you should be vocal. I mean, I'm very proud of myself, because I feel like if I just let them, because they were treating me anyhow. They threatened me that they were going to close it a second time if I don't give them a bill, until I went ahead and wrote like that epistle and tagged everybody before they knew that what they were doing didn't make any sense. Myself and my friend, because my friend was actually in the same situation, but ours was not even addressed. They were asking for a document that she doesn't have. Like, it was crazy. Like, a school, like a department gave her like some letters to upload to tell those people that, oh, she cannot have this document, and they were still telling her they were going to close her demand, which they eventually did. So we came to the conclusion that it's like they intentionally, some prefectures intentionally just want to like frustrate international students. So they try to do everything possible to just make you give up and make you just tired. Another last thing that was different for me was that normally the students' residence permit should be 75 euros if I'm not mistaken, but I was told to pay 225, as well as my friend that they closed their accounts, like eventually when they replied that as well. And we're just like, why is it that expensive? Till today I don't have a response, but I think I browsed it and I saw that if you put it there that you are going to be like, my proof of funds, I didn't show like a definite proof of funds because I didn't have up to the amount they were asking for, but I put my job contract there that, oh, this is the job I'm going to be doing and I'll be earning this amount every month, at the end of every month. So I think declaring that you are going to be a étudiant salarié, which is like a student that is working, like that's how you're going to have your funds. I think it makes your titre de séjour fee, the price for this card, it makes it more expensive. That was the logic I came up with. But my friend said that she has like colleagues as well that they were in the same situation. They were not asked to pay 225. And as well, I have like my colleagues that we were all travailleurs temporaires together, like tapifas, but in other regions, and they pay 75. I just want you to be mentally prepared for what's to come. You might be lucky to be in a region where the prefecture is really nice and they're like humans. Like there are some prefectures that are like really good people, and you might be unlucky to fall into the ends of the type of my prefecture. This is not to shade any prefecture anywhere, but to be honest, some prefectures, they don't act like they're humans. So if you're lucky, good for you, and if you're unlucky, don't worry. At the end of the day, they're going to come through. I hope this video helps someone. Please do share this video with your friends and your loved ones, or anybody you know that is currently trying to change their status from like temporary worker to student, or someone that is about to start the process. Please do give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel and join the family. I have more good videos coming your way, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.